I'm back in business. These pieces are taller than me. They're taller than me. So I talked to my neighbor. I gave him a bunch of stuff. And I just asked him if he had anything left. He was like, yeah, you need something? I was like, hell yeah. Hell yes. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. I think this piece is going to be the backer right here. Gonna be the back. Be about 4 feet wide, about 3 feet high. So I got those 4 pieces right there. I got this big ass piece sitting on top here. And of course I can dismantle this and use this if I have to. So for this part of the video, I want to go over some of the stuff I did as far as putting this thing together. Now, once I had an idea of the kind of tubs I wanted to use, which are the 6 quart and the 14 quarts, I got the tubs, pretty much made my drawing out, and the next morning started slapping this thing together. Pretty much right here you can see me using a method that I've seen a lot of guys use on YouTube videos as far as putting the CDs down first in between the tub and the material as a spacer to at least space in between, you know, leaving you with more room inside to slide the tubs out in and out comfortably without, you know, having too much friction, you know. It'll also leave space in the back for the heat tape. So that's pretty much the method I went with. The material I'm using for the shelves, as you know, I've said it before, it's the PVC stuff. It's a little overkill. A lot of guys go with the 3/8 stuff. What I'm using is 3/4. I mean, like I said, my company was throwing this stuff in the trash, so I had plenty of material to use. Now, my neighbor, I gave him some, so I went over to him to see if he still had some. He was like, yeah, you want some? I said, sure. So I went and snatched it up, so I didn't waste any time putting this together. So by the time I bought the snakes and finished making this rack, was pretty much a matter of like 5 or 6 days. You know, it wasn't very long, so I was happy with the way it went together. All my pieces are pretty much pre-cut before I even started putting this together. I'm pretty good at making blueprints and have an idea of what it is I want to do. Not just with this, but with everything that I do. So you can kind of see here how it looked without the tubs and with the tubs. All right, so this is pretty much the finished product right here. Everything fits real nice. It's going to hold pretty much 9 of the 14 quart tubs. Then you got 8 of the small, I guess you call them the 6 quart tubs. But that's pretty much it. It took me 1 day to slap this together. 1 day. Not bad. I mean, I had all the material to do it, and I had the tools. So the only thing is, this row here came out real tight. I don't know what happened. I mean, I had to shove these in there. So I gotta pull these back out, maybe sand a little bit on the top here on the edge to get the slide in a lot easier. But the next step's gonna be taking this up to my brother's house, and we'll get the electric put in it, get the heat going, then put the snakes in. And so, like I mentioned before, the reason why I went with this size is because, number one, I had the material to do it, and second, my snakes are still small yet, you know what I mean? So I pretty much made this, I'm gonna house them in it. I didn't need all this space, but the heater that the regulator I'm getting, the thermostat that I'm getting, it has enough power to do the whole rack. So I wanted to utilize as much of the thermostat as I could, just in case I needed to, which I know one day I will. So once the snakes start getting to the point where they're gonna outgrow these tubs, these here, then I'll start building another rack that's gonna be pretty much, you know, semi-adult and then adult-sized breeders. You know what I mean? And then this unit here will be used for the hatchlings. These tubs can also be used as hatchlings. I plan on making some kind of a divider that if I want to house 2 or multiple, I can separate them and still be able to label the fronts of the left and the right side of this tub here. So we're looking at 18 babies here I could potentially house individually, and another 8 over here. I don't plan on having so many snakes. I want to try to keep it small, but I want to keep it so that it's a small amount, but higher end quality snakes. The goal is not to make a living off it, but I want to make enough to sustain my hobby. And plus, you know, every year put a little something in my pocket as far as breeding, you know. So this is pretty much it. All right, what's up, people? We're here at my brother's house. We're gonna be wiring up the snake rack. We're gonna be using the There'll be some outtakes of this video. A Vivarium Electronics VE100. Like I said, this thing handles 100 watts. It can put out 100 watts. So I made this big enough. He figured all the numbers out as far as the wattage and everything. So we figured this thing can do 16 feet worth of 4-inch tape. So this all combined comes out to 15 foot. So this will handle this whole rack. By the way, before we get started, I also want to introduce my brother here. He had his own YouTube channel called Free Ball Constrictors. He also had snakes in the past. He's got a few clutches of videos on cuttings, but it was only a short period of time, so it was only a few videos. So let's go check his channel out. Maybe one day he'll get back in and we'll start doing this together. All right, so we had a slight change in plans here. My brother took the back off it to make it easier access to the back here. And we had a little more than what we thought we had, so we're pretty much gonna wire up here, over, down, to right here. That'll be all wired up. We're gonna get everything prepared so that when it's time for me to get the extra tape, all I gotta do is run a few wires and get it done pretty quick. So we're getting there. If you hold it like this, it'll be fine. So if you just push it, so the scientist is at work. He informed me several times that we're doing this the hard way. But the way I put it together, I didn't leave any groove to put any tape, so. And the way this is put together, once you take the screws out of this stuff, you can't really put them back in the same hole, so. Right here is pretty much where the thermostat gets tied into. And pretty much where the Dremel made a little groove in there, so the thermostat is the sensor is actually under the tape, and it comes out of here. So we can check the temperature. We got 2 more rows to do. It wasn't that bad. A little pain in the butt doing it like this, but we have no choice really. But it's looking good.
Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing over there?
It's making a bomb.
Are you making a bomb?
That's fucked up. That's funny. All right, so we got pieces scattered out here. We're getting the pieces ready for the top 2 shelves. The scientists at work, and we're just wondering what the neighbors are thinking because they're right there looking through the window. He's making a fucking bomb. We're getting there.
He is getting there.
We started about what, 7 o'clock?
I don't even remember.
No, I got here like 6:30. We started 6:37, 6:37 o'clock, and it's almost 9 right now. So we're I'm guessing another 2 hours, maybe 10 o'clock. All right, so we're getting progress here. It's getting done. All right, the moment of truth. Took us about 4 hours. That's been that long. Well, 3.5 hours. Started around 7. It was about almost 4 hours. So it'll be 4 hours by the time we're done. But we got all wired up. We're gonna plug it in and see what happens.
Ready?
We got power. Set to 85. The probe is working. You see the temperature going up. We got to set at 85. I'm gonna need to watch some kind of YouTube video or something to figure out how to work this thing. There's a book. The book's in there. Oh, the book. I have to read up on it and figure it out. Seems like it's working pretty good. I mean, I'm happy with it. My snakes are gonna love this. They're gonna love this. You're all wired up. Oh, all right, that's it. So the very next morning, I got my son up bright and early, and we carried the rack down from my truck and got it to the basement and got inside the rack. As you can see, it fit flawlessly. I mean, it fit exactly how I wanted it to fit, with the exception of it being a little bit unbalanced. I'll put some shims in the bottom to get that straightened out and keep it from wobbling. But so once I got the rack in, I started putting in the bins. Like I said earlier in the video, I had a little problem with the bins on that top row there. They fit kind of tight. So rather than use sandpaper, I did try using sandpaper, but it seemed a lot easier to use the knife. I just kind of scraped a little bit there. Actually, not a little bit. I cropped a lot of this out. I scraped a lot. I mean, it was really tight, but eventually I was able to get it in. The one to the right, I haven't even started yet, but I'll leave that alone. This one was pretty good. So started getting the top ones in there, as you can see. Pretty much this one and the one below is the only one I'm going to be using now anyway, because I only have 2 snakes. But I put the rest of them in there anyway, just because visually it looks pleasing to me. So when I come down to look at the rack, I wanted to see everything filled up and looking nice and ready to go. So turned out pretty good. Once I got the bins in, I started drilling the holes out. I went with 1/8 drill bit in my favorite impact gun there, my Craftsman. I had it 3 years, never failed me. Got the top ones in there. Had to drill them nice and slow. You drill it too quick and it cracks. The Sterilites are kind of cheap when it comes to drilling. They crack really easy. But I was able to get all the holes in pretty nice. I only drilled out the first 2 because all I needed. Now if you look here, the holes I just drilled a nice steady line. I didn't go crazy with the holes because the heat I have in the basement, as you can see here, is gas heat that blows hot air, and the basement gets really dry in the wintertime. So I didn't want to drill the holes too big because I didn't want to have a problem with keeping humidity inside my tub. So I could drill the holes bigger later if I have to. But for now, I just kept them small just in case. The water bowls I use are these little ceramic bowls that someone gave me a while back. I got a set of 3 of them. I liked how they looked. I seen that a lot of guys are using small bowls inside their tubs, which is a lot different from when I first started. I was always taught to have bowls big enough so the whole snake can fit his body, but that's not what they're doing nowadays. So I figured they can do it, I can do it. I got 2 nice small bowls in there, matching. Everything looks pretty good. And that's what I went with. So the heat, I had to set the temperatures on the thermostat at 96 degrees. I had to put the temperature 10 degrees higher because inside my tubs at 96 degrees on the thermostat gives me 86 degrees inside my tub. So I went with 96 degrees. Now for my hides, I'm using some cardboard, homemade stuff that I just kind of made from some scrap cardboard I had laying around. Doesn't look pretty, but it's cheap and does the job. This is my Mojave here, my favorite girl, Stripe, my first morph. She goes in first. She's the girl you see in my intro and my thumbnail. One of my favorite snakes. Well, it is the favorite snake in my collection so far. Next, I'll be putting in the my normal female. She's a nice snake. I have a little bit of trouble feeding her sometimes, but overall she's healthy and doing pretty good. I'm happy with her. So for this part of the video, I want to thank my brother for helping me get the heat in. I couldn't have done it without him. You can check him out at Free Ball Constrictors on YouTube. I also want to thank anybody who ever put a video on YouTube giving advice on how to make these things. I couldn't have done it without you guys. So with that being said, I want to say thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.